إن الحمد لله الذي نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبد الله ورسوله أرسله الله تعالى بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا فصلى الله عليه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا ثم أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإن شر الأمور محدثاتها وإن كل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. يقول سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: وقال الذين كفروا ربنا أرنا الذين أضلانا من الجن والإنس نجعلهما تحت أقدامنا ليكونا من الأسفلين إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون اللهم اجعلنا منهم. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن الحكيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم واللهم ثبتنا عند الموت بلا إله إلا الله واللهم اجعلنا من الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر آمين يا رب العالمين. In today's brief khutbah, inshallah ta'ala, I'll attempt to share some reflections with you from Surat Fussilat. Surat Fussilat is the 41st surah of the Quran, and the center of the conversation I'd like to have with you, inshallah ta'ala, in this khutbah is the 30th ayah of the surah. The surah begins, and throughout its initial discourse, the surah talks actually about previous nations and their failures, and how even in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there are people that they're just not willing to listen to the message of the Quran. One of the most interesting ayat in the surah is actually one of the tactics that disbelievers use to ignore the message of the Quran. لا تسمعوا لهذا القرآن وألغوا فيه. Don't listen to this Quran and make noise and do distracting things when it's being recited. لعلكم تغلبون, so that you can dominate. So the idea was, when the Quran's being talked about, things get serious. The topic, the discussion is serious. Well, the way to do that, way to avoid getting serious and having to deal with the demands of this book, is just create a distraction. Start talking about something else. Start raising your voices so nobody else can listen either. These kinds of tactics are mentioned. Other nations and their destruction is mentioned. And then the subject matter switches in the surah. And Allah Azza wa Jal starts talking about the consequences of this kind of behavior in previous nations, and why do you people in Quraysh, why do you think you're going to be any kind of exception? And so judgment is mentioned, hellfire is mentioned, and the ayah I began with, actually the 29th ayah, is something the disbelievers are going to say on Judgment Day. وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا رَبَّنَا أَرِنَا الَّذِينَ أَضَلَّانَا مِنَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ. Master, show us those who misguided us. And that is, they call this min bayaniya, meaning show us those who guided us. We mean to say, show us the people who misguided us among the jinns and among the human beings, because they're the ones who misled us. And interestingly enough, they mention the jinn first, because human beings were not able to see the jinn, right? So they blame an unseen force, and then they mention other human beings that must have misguided us, because it couldn't possibly have been our fault. The issue that's being highlighted here is a lack of personal responsibility. People are ending up in hellfire, and even as they're about to be thrown into hellfire, they're not willing to say yet, our fault. We're the ones who messed up. We didn't listen. We didn't take it seriously. We weren't the ones that were saying, don't listen to this Quran, just make noise instead. Instead, even now they're saying, show us the jinns and the human beings that got us here. نَجْعَلْهُمَا تَحْتَ أَقْدَامِنَا. We could trample them. We could put them under our feet, means let us stomp on them. Let us punish them for what they did to us. Subhanallah, this image. Allah doesn't even comment in the ayah about what His response to that is. It is simply a mockery. It is simply a mention of this idiotic behavior. The consequences of which will be, these people are burning in hellfire and they're asking Allah. And by the way, in Quran elsewhere, Allah has already told us, nobody will listen to them, nobody will even look at them. وَلَا يَنْظُرُ إِلَيْهِمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ Allah was not going to even look towards them on Judgment Day. So they're just talking to themselves, really. Even if they're saying Rabbana. Even if they're saying Rabbana. There's a lack of personal responsibility on behalf of the kafir. I wanted to begin with this because actually the subject I'm talking about today is not the disbeliever, it's the believer. The ayat that are coming that I want to talk to you about are about believers. They're about Muslims. But they're mentioned in sharp contrast to this aspect of disbelief. The aspect of disbelief that seeks to blame others for one's problems. This is a very common attitude, unfortunately, even among many Muslims. Hopefully you're not one of them and I'm not one of them. And that attitude is, I'm messing up as a Muslim, but let me tell you, I have a whole bunch of reasons, and I have a whole bunch of list of criminals that are actually the real culprit. I'm actually innocent. It's society's fault. It's the pressure. It's my workplace. It's my financial situation. It's my family. I was raised this way. What can I do? It's shaitan, man. He gets me every time. It's not my fault. I don't know what it is. I just can't help myself. So you live behind these excuses. You refuse to take responsibility for what you're supposed to be. This is the thing that's being criticized for the kuffar, and Allah is teaching us that they are in such denial that they can't even accept about themselves who they are, that even on Judgment Day they're asking Allah not for forgiveness, but for those who misled them, those who they want to blame and want to punish them, and they want to make them the lowest ones. Now in contrast, Allah mentions the Muslim. And He says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهِ. No doubt those who said, our master is Allah. Understand that this is Meccan surah, it's a Meccan Quran being revealed. And in Mecca it was very hard to be a Muslim. It wasn't easy. It wasn't just like accepting a religion. It came with a lot of social consequences. There are very bad things that happen to you within your family and within your neighborhood and in that society in general if it comes out that you're a Muslim. So it's not easy to be a Muslim. And even if you are a Muslim, it's probably in your best interest to keep it quiet, to not talk about it, to not let anybody know. To even if you want to learn Islam, go learn it secretly. I mean, probably all of you are familiar with the students of the Quran, like the sister of Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, who used to learn Quran secretly, and he found out that she's become a Muslim. Obviously that's because she hadn't declared it yet. And it's understandable because it came with a lot of, you put yourself in the line of fire. It's very dangerous to accept that, to declare to that society that you've become a Muslim. But in this particular passage, Allah highlights the courage of the believers when they basically came out and said that they're believers. They're not just closet Muslims, if you will. They're not just hiding their Islam. They've actually come out and they've declared their Islam. So Allah in this passage doesn't just say إِنَّ الَّذِينَ أَسْلَمُوا. He says إِنَّ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهِ فَأَكَدَ وَأَكَّدَ الْقَوْلِ. He highlighted the qawl, the word. There's no doubt about it. Those who declared, those who said صَدَعُوا وَلَمْ يَخْشَوْا بِالْإِعْلَانِ. They announced it. And they weren't afraid to announce it. They weren't afraid to let the world know. Our master is Allah. Rabbuna Allah. What a statement. And later on in the surah we're going to see, what we think when somebody announces their Islam, they would say, I'm a Muslim. Innani min al-Muslimin. I'm from among the Muslims. Ana Muslim. But that's not their first declaration. Interestingly enough, their first declaration is Rabbuna Allah. Our master is Allah. This is important to understand. Because it takes a lot of courage to declare your Islam. Where will that courage come from? That courage will come from recognizing and then declaring out loud that you have someone who will protect you. And who will protect you is your Rabb, your master. These people have no authority over you. The family that you're afraid of, the neighbors that you're afraid of, the leaders of Quraysh that you're afraid of, the hooligans that you're afraid of, the economic pressures that you're afraid of that are going to come at you, none of them are masters over you. They don't control you. They have nothing on you. The one who has authority over you is your real Rabb, which allows you to remove yourself from all other fears. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهِ is a very heavy statement in the Quran. And it's something that Muslims really, each and every one of us really deeply has to think about. What is Allah highlighting here? When He says, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهِ. I want to spend a little bit of time just on this phrase. First of all, the inna. Like Ibn Ashur rahimahullah says brilliantly, that the word inna is used to remove doubt. لِإِزَالَةِ الشَّكِّ. It removes doubt. And it's also tawqidan. It's used as a matter of emphasis just to burn the kuffar even more. The previous ayah was about the disbelievers. And now the disbelievers are being told, let me tell you on the opposite end, there are people that are not going to regret their decision. And these are the only ones that are going to be safe on Judgment Day. May Allah make us of them. And then Allah says, الَّذِينَ. This is called an ism mawsul in the Arabic language. I'll try not to make this an Arabic lesson, but I want to derive some benefits from the Arabic of the ayah. Alladhina is used when you are specific. Man in the Arabic language, another ism mawsul is used when you're being ambiguous. There are places in the Quran where Allah opens the conversation, talks about Muslims. Bala man aslama wajhahu lillahi wa huwa muhsinun. Man aslama, not alladhi aslama, man aslama. فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. Whoever wants to believe, whoever wants to disbelieve, let them do it. Whoever wants, they can believe. Whoever wants, they can disbelieve. Man is used to open the door to make it ambiguous. Whoever. Like the Prophet says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Man qala la ilaha illallah. Whoever says la ilaha illallah. It's open. But alladhina, this is very specific. And what we're learning in this ayah is Allah is making a big deal out of these people. Allah is recognizing that it's not a small thing that they come out and declare their Islam, but just by saying it, the saying itself is an act of courage. So Allah has special recognition for the Muslim who, despite the pressures in his society or her society, is willing to stand up for their Islam anyway. That is a special recognition by Allah just in the word alladhina. Then He highlights قَالُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهِ. Even if they did that once, they declared, they came out in the open and they said, our master is Allah. This phrase, when you declare the mastery to Allah, I've mentioned this in several talks before, but I'll repeat myself because it's important in this khutbah. Rabb is the highest position one can attain. None of us are truly ever going to be a Rabb. In the Arabic language, you can use Rabb for even owner of a house. You can say Rabbul Bayt. You could say that. But in the absolute sense, there's only one Rabb. And the lowest position possible in the Arabic language is Abd. Is the lowest position possible. Slavery. When you and I declare Allah as Rabb, automatically we have declared ourselves as Abd. It is as much a statement about Allah as it is about ourselves. It's an acknowledgement that I am enslaved to Allah Azza wa Jal. I am His servant, I am His slave, I am at His service. I have the lowest possible position before Him. But you know what? When everybody else thinks of slavery, anybody else, in any other context other than Islam, when they think of slavery, they think of losing your freedom. They think of being oppressed. They think of tyranny. They think of being forced to do something you don't want to do. These are the thoughts that come in the mind when you think of the word slavery. It's an ugly word. It's an ugly word. But the beauty of the rububiyyah of Allah and the ibadah and the ubudiyyah of the slave, us becoming slaves, is that it frees us. You and I become slaves of Allah and you're free from every other form of slavery. You're no longer a slave to fashion. You're no longer a slave to your appetites. You're no longer a slave to societal pressure. You're no longer a slave to economic worries. All of the things that shackle humanity and enslave humanity, you've just been freed from them. You're not worried about that anymore. It doesn't get to you like it gets to anybody else. It is the ultimate declaration of independence, if you will. That's what Rabbuna Allah is. And I specifically want the youth to hear this. It's interesting. Before I came to the United States, I came to the United States as a teenager. But before I came to the United States, I was under the impression, constantly on TV and media and movies and things like that, you hear land of the free, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom of thought, etc. It's a free country. You hear this all the time, We love our freedom in America. And when I came to high school here, at first I was like, because I went to high school in the Muslim world, or elementary school in the Muslim world, and there's uniform, and boys and girls are separate, and there's a structure, and there's assembly in the morning that looks like the military training. It looks like that, but you don't have such a thing in America. You go to high school, it's a free-for-all. It's like being at the mall. It's crazy. And you walk in and there's a kid with his feet up on a chair, and the other kid's chewing gum, haram, yani fil fasl, chewing them in the classroom, and it's all good. The teacher can't say anything. And two guys are talking to each other, worse, boy and girl talking to each other, and I won't describe any further. Free country, right? What is a free country? But after a while we start realizing something. All the goth kids hang together. All the hip-hop kids hang together. All the heavy metal kids look the same. All the geeks are the same. They sit on the same table at lunch. Everybody's almost got a uniform. There are even certain brands you're supposed to wear or not supposed to wear. There's actually a kind of fashion and cultural and cliquish slavery. These people aren't free. They're not free at all. They have to, they're forced, they're enslaved to fit into one thing or another. There's one thing interesting about America that you don't find in many places in the world. If you go to school in some part of the Muslim world, like you go to school in Malaysia or you go to school in Pakistan or something, as a kid, you could be fat, you could be short, you could be tall, you could, whatever, nobody cares. You are who you are. You are who you are. Here, everything about you is judged. Everything about you is commented on. And you're overly conscious of yourself. Your appearance, your accent, the color of your skin, your height, your weight, your physical appearance. Everything about you is scrutinized constantly. And you're constantly thinking as a young person in school, you're constantly thinking, where do I fit? I need to fit in. I can't, I need to find some place to be where I can just belong. And so our youth, so many of our youth, they become enslaved to what they think is freedom. And they start dressing a certain way and talking a certain way and walking a certain way and listening to certain kinds of music and hanging with a certain kind of crowd, all thinking that this is part of their freedom, but not even realizing they're just enslaved. They're just enslaved. For those youth that feel that have felt that slavery, I'm talking to them today. And I'm saying Allah Azza wa Jal honors those who can say, I'm above this all. Inna alladhina qalu Rabbuna Allah. Our master is Allah. They're above it all. They have freed themselves from all of those shackles. I want to raise my daughters and my sons with a different kind of mentality. I want them to be raised with the mentality of Inna alladhina qalu Rabbuna Allah. I haven't even gotten to Thumma istaqamu yet. Just that they declare their master is Allah, which means they owe nobody an explanation for who they are. They don't have to justify themselves to anybody. They don't have to explain themselves to anybody. They take full pride in being slaves of Allah. They're proud of that. What better place to be? What better can I be than a slave of Allah? And so when a girl, and now this is a reality in our times, there's a girl that wears hijab. And she goes to high school, public school. And people laugh at her. Some girls might even yank her hijab a little bit. Teacher might make comments about her and she's ashamed. And deep down inside she feels bad about being Muslim. She doesn't even say it to anybody. She just feels bad. She doesn't know who to talk to. And maybe the thought crosses her mind, man, these girls get to dress however they want. And everybody thinks they're so pretty. Everybody thinks I'm so ugly, I gotta be covered up all the time. I can't even dress the way I want. These thoughts cross her mind. You know why these thoughts are crossing her mind? Because even though she may have been given an education that she should put a hijab on, she wasn't given the education, your master is Allah, properly. Because when that education is given, then she walks down the same aisle in high school and she looks at those other girls and says, subhanallah, they are enslaved to the attention of men. They're enslaved to this fashion. They degrade themselves only so they can feel good about themselves. I can just serve Allah and feel good about myself. I don't have to please other human beings or meet their expectations or dress the way society wants me to dress or men want me to dress. For me to feel accepted, I already feel accepted by Allah. I feel sorry for those girls that put themselves down like that. That's how the thoughts will change. You won't see yourselves as inferior. You'll see yourselves as free, while everybody else is enslaved. Allah Azza wa Jal says, it's so beautiful in the language of Quran. When someone is enslaved, there are burdens on them. Like in the old image of a slave, they've got shackles on them, right? Fetters on them, and they can't move because they have to carry large burdens. Like enslaved societies were made to do heavy labor. When Allah Azza wa Jal, especially in a surah that has so much sharia, and in Surah An-Nisa says, يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَن يُخَفِّفَ عَنْكُمْ. Allah wants to lighten your burden. Allah wants to take a load off of you. You become my slave, your load doesn't increase, it decreases. Life gets easier for you, not harder. It gets easier for you. يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ بِكُمُ الْيُسْرَ وَلَا يُرِيدُ بِكُمُ الْعُسْرَ. Allah wants ease for you. He doesn't want difficulty for you. This is a slavery to Allah. You want an easier life? You turn to Allah. And that's the other sad impression so many people have of our deen within the Muslim community. There are so many Muslims who think if you become closer to religion, life will get hard. The closer you get to Islam, the more you take Islam seriously. Man, Islam, everything's haram. Everything's haram. Man, you can't have fun. Fun's haram. You know, you can't have a party. Parties are haram. You can't go do this or that or the other. Everything's, just assume everything's haram. That means the more Muslim you become, the more Islamic you become, the more religious you become. That just means more of life has become impermissible for you. The enjoyments of life have been taken away from you. What a tragedy. I don't know who did this propaganda, but this is such a gross misrepresentation of our religion. Our religion's, one of its functions is to make life easier. One of its roles is to make life easier, to take your burdens off, to allow you to truly enjoy happiness, to remove sadness from your life. That is one of the great benefits of our deen. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ قَالُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهِ. But the qawl isn't enough. Even though the statement, our master is Allah, is courageous, it's commendable. But this should translate into some kind of transformation too. Just saying you're Muslim isn't enough. Just declaring your master is Allah isn't enough. Then Allah adds ثُمَّ اسْتَقَامُوا, which is roughly translated, then they were firm upon it. Well, let's talk about first the word thumma, which is one of the huruf ataf. It's one of the letters of the Arabic language, or prepositions in the Arabic language that suggest tarahi, delay. Also idafa, like moreover. They also suggest, something that comes at tartib. Yes, something comes and the next thing comes. The idea of thumma here is when you declare your master is Allah, that's easy to say. As courageous as it is, saying it one time is easy. But once you've said it though, you got to start making moves to live up to it. You have to start making some changes in your life. When you say Rabbuna Allah, it should necessarily mean that you're trying to live up to it. The word istiqamah, a remarkable word in the Arabic language. There are so many variations of this word, all of which are describing Islam. Qayyim, qawam, qawwam, iqamah, qa'im. All of these are used in our qa'iman, like even one of the descriptions of Allah Azza wa Jal, qa'iman bil qist. So many variations of this one root, one word, which literally means to stand. The origin of the word is to stand. Istaqama, some say, is the hyperbole, like the mubalagh form of taqawwama, which means to absolutely be straight, to stay straight, to remain straight. From it we get as-sirat al-mustaqim. All of you are familiar with that term. Others say that the alif, sin and ta in the word highlight muhawala, trying, wanting, a talab. So those who declare Allah as their master and they tried really hard to stay straight. Allah is not even expecting perfection. Allah is expecting attempt, wanting. You want to fix yourself now that you've declared Allah as your master. And Allah is talking about the people who can look back in their life and they can honestly say to themselves, and honestly say to Allah, Ya Allah, I tried to make changes in my life. One of our teachers at campus in Dallas had a beautiful exercise for our students, and really beneficial, I think, for all Muslims. He asked our students to make a list of things they wish they didn't do in life, bad habits that they have that they wish they could get rid of, and things that they wish they accomplished for the sake of Allah. I have a list of wishes that I accomplished for the sake of Allah. Just a list of things that I hope I wasn't doing. I wish I wasn't doing this. I wish I wasn't so lazy. I wish I wasn't putting things off all the time. I wish I didn't lose my temper all the time. I wish I didn't have this or that or the other evil habit. Whatever it may be. Maybe some of you are smoking. Maybe some of you have a closet drinking habit. I don't know. You put that in your wish list. I wish I didn't do this. That I know is disobeying Allah. And on the other hand, I wish I was doing certain things for Allah. I wish I could get up for Fajr early enough. I wish I could just make it to the masjid once in a while to make salat there. It'd be so awesome. I wish I made it to Jum'ah before the khutbah started. I wish I did that. I know I feel bad every week I come late. Every week I come like right before the guy says Aqimis Salat. I'm the last guy to park my car. I park it closest to the exit. Because last in, first out. It's a principle of accounting. It works in Jum'ah too. Last in, first out. Man, I wish my phone didn't go off in every salah. I wish I wasn't that guy every time. I wish, I wish, I wish. He said, make a list of these things. And then ask yourself, what is keeping you from fulfilling this? What's keeping you? Who do you want to blame? The ayah before, the kafir was ready to blame the jinn. He was ready to blame anybody in humanity. The only one who is refusing to blame is himself. And in this ayah, Allah says, you've declared I'm your master. قَالُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهُ. The only thing left now is at least try to straighten up. Try to fix your matter. See the irony of it all? The phone ringing? It's awesome. But anyhow, at least try to fix your matter. Try to straighten up. ثُمَّ اسْتَقَامُوا. And then the beautiful thing happens. In this ayah, there's so much interesting ikhtilaf among our classical scholars about تَتَنَزَّلُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. Angels descend upon them. Angels are coming down upon them. So the difference of opinion among our ulama is, when are these angels coming down? Because the last ayah was talking about the day of judgment and hellfire and akhirah. Maybe these angels are coming down upon the believers in the akhirah. Others said there's no qaid on the ayah, there's no restriction on the ayah. So maybe they're coming down upon them at the time they're about to leave this world. So you lived a good life and you're in your deathbed. I imagine you and I are going to be on that bed one day or another. Whether it's going to happen in our car or on a plane or in our bed when we're old. Whenever that's going to happen, or it's in a hospital bedroom, and in a bed, in a hospital bed, you're just lying there, there are family members around you, they're crying over you, you don't even have the, بَلَغَتِ التَّرَاقِي, it's already reached the throat. You and I are about to check out of this place, this temporary residence Allah gave us, and this body itself is a temporary residence. We're about to check out of this body itself, and then nobody else. Your mother is standing there, your children are standing there, your brother, your sister, your friends are standing by your bed and they're crying, and then your eyes open and you see something they can't even see. You see angels coming down. Nobody can see them. You can see them. And when people see angels, only two kinds of angels show up. Angels that will terrify you like no terror ever, or angels that will give you joy like no joy you've ever experienced. And these people, in this particular ayah, they experienced the joy of angels coming to them and saying, no, don't be afraid. لا تخافوا. لا تحزنوا. Don't worry. Don't be grieving. Ulama even commented, fear is understandable. You're about to die. Fear is understandable. What's لا تحزنوا doing there? Don't worry about it. Don't grieve. Grief and sadness happens over the past. ما قد مضى. Whatever happened already. So why is La Tahzanu being mentioned? Because the believers like, oh my God, angels are already here. I had to do some more tawbah. I had to make some more dua. I was planning on doing i'tikaf this year. I was going to recite some more Quran. I was going to spend some more time with my mother. I was going to stop. I was going to do, help my brother. I was going to pay off this one or that one. I was going to give some more sadaqah. I was ready to write the check before I passed out, and now I'm in the hospital, and now you're here. I was ready to write the check for sadaqah. Can I do that before you take me? And they say, no, don't worry about it. You're okay. You got enough credits. You graduate. لا تحزنوا وابشروا بالجنة. Congratulate yourselves. Feel congratulated about Jannah. التي كنتم توعدون, that used to be promised to you all the time. Now imagine this scene, the guy's on his deathbed. This man or this woman's on his deathbed. Everybody else around them is crying, and they don't even have the energy. They don't have the strength to even shed a tear. But inside of them, they have never been happier in their life. Never been happier. Because they just got the guarantee of Jannah. Some ulama say this happens even before the person dies. That they actually see the angels congratulating them right at the moment of death. وَأَبْشِرُوا بِالْجَنَّةِ الَّتِي كُنْتُمْ تُوعَدُونَ. Others say that this is happening, the angels coming and congratulating you constantly, is happening even now if you are trying to become a better person. If you're trying to live up to ثُمَّ اسْتَقَامُوا. You may not hear them, you may not see them, but Allah sends angels from the sky for the only reason to just come and say to you and to make you feel not afraid and not worried, and to feel good about Jannah that's coming. Just for that reason, Allah sends angels from the sky. Subhanallah. They say an here. أن لا تخافوا. See the an, they say an تفسيرية وفيه التعليل كذلك. فيها التحليل في هذه الحرف. They say the angels come for the purpose of telling you not to fear. For the purpose that you may not be afraid. For the purpose that you may not grieve. Our deen, I told you, it removes sadness from life. It removes pressure and stress from life. What are the two stresses people have? Fear and grief. Fear and grief. And the angels come and they say, we'll heal you emotionally. You don't have to worry. You do your part to Allah, and Allah will take care of your emotional health, your psychological health, your spiritual health. Allah takhafu wa la tahzanu wa abshiru bil jannah. And be congratulated feel congratulated of Jannah. Feel the good news of Jannah. Allati kuntum tu'adun. This is such a gorgeous part of the ayah. Allati kuntum tu'adun. I'll spend some time on this ayah. This ayah itself is a world. Really, it's a world by itself. Allati kuntum tu'adun, which you had continuously been promised. Aina wa'adana Allahu al-Jannah? Fi kitabih. Where did Allah promise us Jannah? In His book. And in the ayah He's saying that the people that are being congratulated, what is said specifically to them is, you used to get congratulated, you used to get promised Jannah all the time. Kuntum tu'adun fihi istimrar. At-tawil. It's got a long continuation. When kana and mudari' come together, it's like you used to continually get congratulated. Now the thing is, I already mentioned to you in the same surah, it's no accident, that there were a bunch of irresponsible kuffar who said, don't listen to this Qur'an, make noise when it's recited. But then there's the believer, who morning and evening, he recited Allah's word. He or she found joy in reciting the Qur'an, and listening to Allah's promise. And when you recite a lot of Qur'an, what do you hear about a lot? You hear about Jannah a lot. And you hear about it constantly. You don't just hear it once in a while. Allah doesn't just talk about this home of ours that He's built for us once in a while. He talks about it constantly, constantly, constantly. You know, when people want to buy a house and they're renting an apartment and they're saving money, they talk about buying a house constantly. They talk about their house constantly. When you have enough money to now put money down for a house or buy a house, then you're going around checking neighborhoods constantly. You're on real estate websites constantly, because you can't wait to go to your new home. There's this thing inside the human being, I can't wait to move to that new home. Should we go to this one or that one? Oh, this one's really nice. Did you look at that backyard? Oh, that's amazing. There's a thing. It's in human nature. It's in human nature. We just love having a new home. Even if you are in a home, maybe you bought a new home 5 years ago, it's old now. Now you go to somebody else's house and you're like, wow, that's kind of nice. I wonder if I can pull this off. Let me check my account. You know, let me see. What if I sold the house here and bought it over there? He's thought this is Allah programmed this inside of us. We have this thing inside us. We love a home. And what does Allah say? Allah describes the real estate of Jannah constantly in the Quran. I'm promising you, I'm promising you, and I tell you, wallahi, when we move to that house, we're not going to want to move. We're not going to want to move. But the idea of this ayah that I'm trying to get across to you and myself, even for myself, the angel comes and says, you were continuously promised Jannah. You were continuously promised in the Quran. But if you're not reading the Quran regularly, you're not being continuously promised Jannah. If you're not listening to Allah's promise all the time, you're not one of the people that are constantly being promised Jannah. This is talking to those who had a relationship with Allah's word, who didn't make, you know, the kuffar's criticism, Allah says, وَأَلْغَوْ فِيهِ, make noise instead of it, you know, despite it, so people don't hear it. Well, you're not one of those kuffar, but you know what? When you have a multiple choice in your head, on your iPod, there's the entire recitation of Quran MP3s, and you've got a little bit of, you know, 25 cent or, you know, a quarter or whatever, some other albums on there too. And you're like, what should I pick? What should I listen to right now in the car? And there's a choice, you know? Then what are you choosing? Are you choosing noise over the Quran? Are you choosing, you know, the news report, the Dow Jones Industrial Average? Is that what you're choosing over the Quran? What are you picking? That's a personal question for each and every one of us, myself included. You've got some time to kill at home? Let's see what's funny on YouTube. Let's see what's out there, you know? Or are you picking Quran? We have to be the people that are constantly exposed to Allah's word more than anything else. We have to be people of Quran. We can't get lazy about Allah's book. And then you will experience the joy of these promises that Allah makes. And wallahi, when you hear the promises of Allah, one of the most beautiful things about the promises of Allah, that I as a believer and you as a believer can't wait, is when Allah describes trees in Jannah. Allah describes drinks in Jannah. Allah describes rivers in Jannah. He describes them with great detail. Then we go to Jannah and we see, oh, that ayah, that's what he was talking about. I mean, we can read the tafsir of the ayat of Jannah, but the real tafsir of the ayat of Jannah is Jannah itself. And who will experience the joy of comparing the word of Allah, and the actual experience? The one who heard it all the time. The one who experienced that all the time. The one who couldn't wait to see what this ayah will actually mean. How many people how many times you read Jannatun tajri min tahtiha al-anhar, Jannatun tajri min tahtiha al-anhar? How many times? When we're actually standing at the Jannat, tajri min tahtiha al-anhar, and you recite that ayah, the joy you will feel is indescribable. That's something else. تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون اللهم اجعلنا منهم نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة. We're the ones protecting you. We've been your protective friends in worldly life and in the Akhirah. Allah Azza wa Jal sent a legion of angels to protect you and me just because we were courageous enough to declare that we're Muslims and live by it. Whose protection are we looking for? Allah already sent a battalion of angels. The same angels that are now congratulating this person of Jannah are letting him know we've always been around actually. Allah assigned us to be your security team. You know? In this dunya, fi dunya wa fil akhirah, and in the akhirah. Now your question is, why would you need security in the akhirah? In dunya I understand, there's dangers in dunya. Why do you need security in the akhirah? Because from the time you get out of your grave to the time you make it through the gates of Jannah, there's a lot of danger in between. There's a lot of danger in between. In the akhirah, where Allah has assigned us to make sure you're okay, to take care of you. وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَشْتَهِي أَنفُسُكُمْ. And in Jannah, for you people especially, there's going to be whatever you desire. Whatever shahwa comes to. Shahwa means strong appetite. Strong, you urge for something. There are kids in the audience here that have the strong urge to play PlayStation 3. Like their mind says, I gotta play, man, I gotta go. And they gotta turn it on, they gotta play it. People are addicted to video games. They're addicted to movies. A movie comes out, it's like fard, al-ayn. It's not even kifaya, it's al-ayn. You have to see it on opening night. You will be less of a human being. You will not have fulfilled your purpose in life if you were not in line and you didn't watch the movie. You can't wait till it comes out. You know? That's the attitude. And so there are appetites. You have an appetite for entertainment. You have an appetite for music. You have an appetite for chilling, just kicking it. You have an appetite for food. You have an appetite for temptation. You have those appetites. Allah says, I will fulfill all of your appetites. وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَشْتَهِي أَنفُسُكُمْ. You have the appetite, I will fulfill it. I will leave you completely satiated. You will not be unsatisfied in any way, shape, or form. But you know what? That's just the beginning. وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَدَّعُونَ. وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَدَّعُونَ. So awesome. Idda'a in Arabic means to make a claim. Also means at-talab. And talaba shay'an, idda'a shay'an. Whatever you place an order of. Right now, you and I live in this world and our imagination is limited. It is limited. So the only things I can desire are within the scope of my limited imagination. Isn't that true? Everything I can want is within the scope of my limited imagination. Now, Jannah, when the Prophet describes it, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he says, مَا لَا عَيْنٌ رَأَتْ. What no eye has ever seen. وَلَا أُذُنٌ سَمِعَتْ. No ears ever heard. وَمَا خَطَرَ عَلَى قَلْبِ بَشَرٍ. No heart has ever even imagined what's in Jannah. When you and I, one day, by Allah's permission and His mercy, may Allah enter all of us, when we go into Jannah, is our imagination going to expand? Is it going to be that we see things that we want, that we've never even imagined before? Yeah. So now, in the beginning of Jannah, your only appetites are the ones you learned in dunya. But once you get into Jannah, you develop new cravings. You want some new stuff, because you've seen things you've never seen before. So Allah says, not only your shahwa, وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَدَّعُونَ. Maybe some other thought crosses your mind later on in Jannah. Ya Allah, I would like some of that too. You have that too. It's not like, no, you already placed your orders. We only take orders once. It's not like that in Jannah. You make the order, you desire, whatever your desire is given to you, then your desires evolve. And evolve, and evolve, and they keep getting placed. And you keep asking for more things, and they keep getting given to you. وَلَكُمْ فِيهَا مَا تَدَّعُونَ. What an incredible description of Jannah, but the most incredible part is what I'm concluding with, the next ayah. This next ayah, because one of my problems is I'm Desi, so I'm going to have to explain it to you from my point of view. In Desi culture, in Indo-Pak culture, you go to somebody's house. When you go to somebody's house, they don't take you to the dining room. They take you to the living room, the guest room. And the guest room, they give you some dry fruit, chai shai, pani shani, thanda shanda, okay? Some piste badam, something, you know? They give you some snack before the actual dinner, okay? They don't give you the actual dinner first, they sit you down and they give you like maybe a mini Snickers bar or something. But whatever, they give you a little mini snack. What is the point of it? Whet your appetite. That's to whet your appetite. Then they take you for the main meal. Okay, that's the difference between those two. So initial hospitality, when you walk into somebody's house, you get initial hospitality, a little bit of a light, can I get you some water, can I get you some juice, something, while the dinner's being prepared and the table's being set and things like that, right? That initial hospitality is called nuzul. In the Arabic language, the initial hospitality is called nuzul. And the word nuzul comes from nazala, which means to come down. Literally that's used because the guy that came over to your house came, back in the day, he came on a horse. He came on a camel. So what did he do? He came off his horse and he came into your house. And he came to your house, and your house is also called manzil. One of the names for your house is al-manzil. And when he comes into your manzil, you give him nuzul, the first introductory hospitality, just to get your appetite started. That is called nuzul. Now this description of Jannah that I just gave you, the next ayah Allah says, كُلُّ هَذَا نُزُلًا مِّن غَفُورٍ رَحِيمٍ. This is just introductory appetite from the one who forgives excessively, the one who's got all kinds of care and mercy. We're just getting started. All you can desire and all you can imagine to ask Allah for is just getting started. That's just introductory hospitality. And you know why that's so incredible? Because you and I, at the end of the day, نحن خالق. كم مطلوب? How much are we going to ask for? How much can we ask for? Our imagination, even after seeing Jannah, is limited. Even after seeing Jannah. So Allah will give us, without us even asking, things we can't even imagine after we're in Jannah. And that's later. That's beyond words. This is just to get your appetite started. These are the people of Jannah. And the people of Jannah that can simply be courageous about being Muslim. They can simply stand up for their Islam. They can simply make a serious commitment to themselves that they are going to become better and better and better Muslims, more and more and more committed Muslims, practically acting on the teachings of this deen. They will become those kinds of Muslims day after day. ثم استقاموا. اللهم اجعلنا من المستقيمين. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن الحكيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى خصوصا على أفضلهم وخاتم النبيين محمد الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. يقول الله عز وجل في كتابه الكريم بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. عباد الله رحمكم الله اتقوا الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. أقم الصلاة إن الصلاة كانت على المؤمنين كتابا موقوتا.